Hello, adventurers. It is Friday, time for RPG horror stories. Are you guys good and worked up? Are you guys mad yet? Are you ready to get mad?
I hope you're talking to me because the answer is always.
Yeah.
I don't have to talk to
I
you
have a
because-
rage.
I'm pre-horrified. I'm at a low simmer right now, hoping to raise it to a full rolling boil.
Greg, I want you to make me rage.
All right.
What do you got?
You'll enjoy this because it is specifically a short story, so no Josey epics.
Hey.
I
That's why
already
we
love
have
it.
single stories per episode, so I can read the whole epic.
We changed. Actually, that's actually true. We actually changed the whole format of the show just for Josey.
Because I'd be like, this one's a little short. Like, I want to take up a little bit more time. And then I'd be like, I have one that's 6 pages long. Is that okay?
Yeah, Josey was the change she wanted to see in the world,
Yeah.
so that's good.
Spoiler alert: it was never okay.
All right.
But now it is.
We should be good hosts. And who do we got at the table today? Well, we'll horrify us in a second. We gotta know who we're horrifying. Of course, I'm Jason Portizo. I've got Jim Crocker here today.
Hey, how we doing?
Josey Diaz is here,
Yo.
and with his story, Greg Genovas.
Hello.
Cool. Now we have basic podcasting 101 out of the way. Let's get into the content of the episode.
Listen, I've failed 101 classes before. It's okay.
Well, you took 17 minutes to plug your headphones in, so I think I'm coming out ahead here.
Listen.
Podcasting horror stories. Yeah.
Josey's camera is still off, so you're still winning, Greg.
Listen,
I'm not
I can't help it
last
that my
place.
computer does not recognize my camera anymore, even though it is part of the computer.
We, the council of Josey's computer, do not recognize the rank of camera.
Yeah, I had to send Jason a picture to confirm that it really was me.
That was the most horrifying thing I've seen yet today. Unless Greg can get on with his goddamn story already.
I'm goddamn trying to. All right. DM wouldn't give a player the points for picking the disadvantage muteness because she's already mute in real life. I believe it should say GM, but that's not up to me.
I'm already upset.
We were creating our characters together for playing the German RPG The Dark Eye. During character creation, you can pick from a wide variety of advantages and disadvantages. Advantages cost you points, while disadvantages gives you points. So the more disadvantages you pick, the more advantages you can have. The amount of points each is worth varies. One player who is mute was delighted to find that muteness is a disadvantage, so she picked it for her character. It's worth a lot since being mute is actually a huge disadvantage in game. The DM said she doesn't get points for it since she's mute anyway, and we all laughed because we thought it was a joke. Turns out he was dead serious. It turned into a pretty long and weird argument, and we all ended up deciding not to play with him in the end and left the creation session. Finally, no second and third chances for this horrible GM.
So they just started off with the correct resolution.
Oh, yeah. There is an edit.
Imagine being like, ooh, sorry, you can't utilize the disability you have in real life because it wouldn't, like, what was their reasoning for that? It's like, ooh, you're already mute in real life, so, like, it wouldn't be fair of me to give you the additional points if your character was also mute.
Well, because then they're not role-playing.
I'm mad.
Right? It's just a thing that...
Yeah.
Oh, God,
This
that
is-
GM sounds like an ableist prick.
There is an edit. The GM met her before and knew she's mute. Regarding his reasoning, he argued since that she can't talk anyway, she wouldn't have to struggle with holding back, thus making it unfair to award her points for it. We all said that we wouldn't feel treated unfair at all, but he would not have it. So yeah, sounds like an ableist prick indeed.
Imagine the whole table like insisting that like
Yeah, just like, oh no, this is cool. Like, give her
right.
the point she's like deserving of because she is following rules as written. Like, this isn't some like, oh, can I do this and give up this instead?
Can you imagine letting your whole game deteriorate over this?
Yeah,
What was the game?
Dark Eye.
yeah.
Dark Eye, yes. Jim, are you familiar?
It's a German kind of dark fantasy game. It is like the German speaking world's version of D&D. It's the kind of,
Quintessential.
It's like the most popular game in fantasy tabletop RPG in Germany.
Cool.
Never quite took off here.
like it got adapted by someone. Ugh, God, they've tried once or twice to bring it over, but it's just never really taken off because
we
stuff-
won't learn German.
Yeah, well, we've already got 18,000 fantasy heartbreakers, and
27 Call of
Josey,
Cthulhu's.
there are LARPers who learned Elvish. Okay, they'll figure out German if they like the game.
Yeah, if I'm trying to remember.
Here's
who
the
did
thing:
it.
you have to be careful of LARPers that really like to learn German.
You had me at you have to be careful of LARPers. I know a few, and they are
Oh my God. I met
dedicated.
a girl.
Let's put it that way.
I met a girl 3 separate times, and 3 separate times she did not recognize me and re-explained what LARPing was to me and invited me to join her LARPing group. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, yeah, sure. And then
No matter
spoke
what
to her.
no matter what your nerd hobby is, or even your regular hobby, no matter what your hobby is, don't let it become the beginning and the end of your personality.
It was just so strange that I was like, not only have we met prior, but we met with this group of people prior. What do you do other than be like, no, fuck you, we're not playing? Like, let's say it wasn't the DM or GM or whatever that made that comment. How do you
Oh, I think that's a talking to
contend
right on site where it's just like, hey, they are not asking for like special treatment. It is literally in the rule book that this
rules as written,
you get this if you take this. She wanted to take that, so she should get this. Like, there's not
also being like, oh, well, it wouldn't be a disadvantage to her because she's mute in real life. It's like, do you think that being mute in real life does not come with its own set of disadvantages?
Yeah, like, hey, asshole, this is now the one setting where, like, she gets something for taking this disadvantage.
So I think we need to just start from the place that there's a lot of discussion and discourse about how problematic gamifying disability potentially is just in the first place, just from the jump.
Yeah.
And this has been on my list of episode talking points for a while, and I want to address this correctly with qualified voices and stuff like that. That's why we haven't done it yet. But yes.
Yeah. So starting from that place, but just the idea that that essentially what he's doing is literally discriminating further against her. Like I said, like the idea that she can't take it because she's not role playing it is so disgusting that I just can't even.
I understood when I was reading. He allowed her to take that disadvantage on paper, but would not award her the corresponding bonuses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So but his explanation for that was essentially, you don't have to pretend to have this disability. Yeah. Therefore, there's no role-playing challenge there. So it's, so whatever mechanical advantage would accrue, I'm going to, by fiat declare you don't get it because it's not, because you don't have to, it's like you play an espionage game or something like that. And, your character speaks Russian, and that would normally cost points, but because I can speak Russian as a player, I don't have to spend points for my character to speak Russian because I can speak Russian or something like that. Like, it's that conflation of what's going on in the real world and what's going on in your character sheet is
right. And a lot of fantasy games that doesn't come up because which of us actually speaks Dwarvish?
Mm-hmm.
Greg.
But that was in our metagaming episode pretty recently at the time of recording, very recently. But I think that was episode 28. If you go to curmudgeonsanddragons.com/28, you can go listen to that and get our take on using out-of-game knowledge in-game. But I understand.
It's very upsetting.
I understand the issue that he had with it. But I mean, let's at least go from let's at least look at this from a pure gaming perspective. Let's say you don't give a shit about anybody else and how they feel. So you're a DM. Just from a gaming perspective, are you really gonna break rules as written in session 0 over this?
Only if you're a dick.
I appreciate him getting it out of the way early so they can go find a better game without getting invested.
Mm-hmm.
But this is your final stand.
That's where you're going to draw the line.
It's his first
discriminating
and final
against
stand.
disabled people.
And my hunch is that he's not policing everybody else in terms of like, my character's angry all the time and I get 10 points for that. But
It's
if
like, well,
you,
you're an
as a
angry
player,
person, yeah.
are fucking angry all the time, he's not going, well, no, you're kind of a jerk most of the time in real life, so I'm not going to give you the points for that. You can write it down on your sheet, but
it's like not giving me points for being an angry drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just at least from the gaming perspective, just play the game right, dude.
Right.
And like, from a human being perspective, just play that game right too, dude.
Like, how did you pick the wrong thing to do? Session 0 immediately.
Because some people have no tact.
Not only that, but I mean, my hunch is that's someone who didn't want to make the accommodation for that player with a disability and found a way to scuttle the whole thing so that he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Without coming right out and saying that.
But I feel like
that's what that feels like.
I feel like if this was the first major decision of the game and it broke the entire game in half, he was going to have a lot more of those down the road. And like, good on the players for leaving.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's like
it was going to get worse. It was not going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that was part of their consideration for disintegrating the game, was that knowing that it was not going to get better.
That's that terrible first date, and you have the good sense to not agree to a second.
You go, ooh, I don't want to relive this.
Leave before dessert. Yeah,
they always say,
just go and powder your nose real quick.
Mm-hmm.
They always say bad D&D is worse than no D&D.
Yeah,
it's very true.
So, Greg, great job pissing us off.
Thank you. I was glad I was able to do it in 10 minutes.
Guys, we do RPG horror stories every single Friday. I don't know who's going to read next or if I'm going to release them in the order that we read them. So you'll be just as surprised as I am next week.
Mm-hmm.
Power Move had this one come out last in the batch.
Last ever, and just stop the show forever.
We're saving it.
Right.
Yeah, there's no Power Move like quitting. Yeah,
that's very true.
Greg, Jim, Josey, guys, thanks so much.
Very welcome.
Check out curmudgeonsanddragons.com, and everything that I could possibly be promoting is on there. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers. Leave a review on Apple and follow us on social media. All links can be found at curmudgeonsanddragons.com. Practice safe adventuring, my friends.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.